name is Stephanie. I am one of the owners of Mountain Fitness Collective. My husband and I own the gym together. I'm 46 years old and a master's CrossFit athlete. As a master's, you become masters when you're 35. I started CrossFit when I was around 41. My now husband introduced me to the sport of CrossFit, and when I first started, I was really nervous about starting. I had never really lifted weights. When I was a kid, I lifted weights. When I was a downhill ski racer, I'd done some work in the gym. But other than that, most of the training that I was doing was cardio training. I was a huge cardio junkie. I was running, I was mountain biking, and I was also ski touring. When I had kids in my late 30s, and after that I was really looking for workouts that I could do in a short period of time that were going to give me a really good bang for your buck. And so when Turner introduced me to CrossFit, I really liked the methodology of it. I loved the workouts. I felt like I got a really good sweat, and just from that hour or whatever we were doing at work. I definitely had some misconceptions about it. I think like a lot of women, when I first started, I was so afraid that I was going to get big. I thought I was going to do start lifting weights and automatically I start to get jacked. But I realize now how hard it is to build muscle, especially when you're in your 40s, and especially as you get on closer into your late 40s and your 50s as you get closer to menopause. So for me, my focus was always, when I started, was just to really focus on technique. I was never really worried about the weight that I was gonna lift because I was so afraid of lifting heavy because I'd never really done it, and as well of my body. I knew I was over 40 and I've had several knee surgeries, so my knees weren't in the best of shape from all those years of pounding into the ground of running. And so I had really a lot of issue with my knees. So I was like, I'm never gonna lift heavy. I'll never be able to do box jumps. Like, I had all these things that I thought I would never be able to do. But over time, I realized that I just strengthen my stabilizers and strengthen those muscles, those important stabilizers, that actually I would be able to lift heavy. And so just want to talk about, today we're gonna do a little bit of strength work. We're gonna do some back squats. And it's really important to add strength work into your programming. So at any age, but particularly if you're over 40. So as you age, and like I said, as you get into your mid 40s, you start to get closer to menopause. So when you get into this phase, your hormones are all over the place, and you need a big anabolic stimulus to start to grow lean mass muscle. And so you need to do strength work. And that strength work is all relative to where you're at, right? My heavy is going to be different to your heavy if you're just starting. So if you're not already adding strength work, something to consider in your training plan, that you start to add it in, because we want to build muscle as we age, and especially as you get into over 50 and into menopause, you want to make sure that you have some muscle mass. So today we're going to do some back squats. We're going to start with some higher reps today with 10s, and then we're going to work our way down to heavier, and we're going to do a set of 4. 2% of my 1 rep max and I did 10 reps. And then I went down and I got heavier as I went through, working my way down to 4 reps. And my finishing weight was 216, that's 80% of my 1 rep max. Turner did a more skill piece today, so working on his form and his depth, and he did a 5x5 at 220. So 2 different ways, but the idea is that we really want to begin to lift heavy. But like I said, it's all relative to where you're at. If you're a beginner, your heavy is gonna be a lot different than my heavy. I grew up a ski racer. I've got strong legs. I love back squats.
To the sound, boy, forget the crowd. Harmonies allowed. I want it, you want it. You were holding on, waiting for something that wasn't meant for you. Now that is gone, what you find is a brand new rhythm in your blood. Surrender to the sound. Boy, forget the crowd. Harmonies allowed. I want it, you want it. 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 I was holding on, waiting for something better, faster, stronger. What I found was the sound of a punch-drunk heart beating for you. Surrender to the sound. Boy, forget the crowd. Harmonies allowed.
So one thing that we were trying to do there is we were trying to do a skill, so the gymnastic skill of handstand walking and adding that into a workout. So we're jacking our heart rate up, we're working other muscle groups as well. We're not just doing the handstand walk on its own, because if you master the handstand walk on its own, that's fantastic. But then if you're trying to take it into competition, you need to be able to mix those 2 modalities or 3 modalities going on there. So with that relatively light goblet squat, what it's doing is it's going to tax our upper body, it's going to tax our core, which is going to make the handstand walking a bit harder. But it's not crazy, it's not too heavy, it's not insane. And then with that rep scheme as well, we've only got 45 reps there, but it's enough when you then link it with the pull-ups, which also take out your upper body, which make it harder for the goblet squat, which make it harder for the lats to be recruited in the handstand walk, and also tax the core.
Yeah, for me, because handstand walks are a constant, I guess, progression for me, so I have to practice all the time. I just learned to walk a couple years ago. They don't come naturally to me, so for me, the hardest issue with those handstand walks is just catching my breath and knowing when to go in, and so I have to take that rest or else I won't make it across the floor. So really, for me, just like being more confident to get back in, and then, yeah, that's what I'm working on, is just like being able to control my breath, because it's so much about breath control while you're upside down.
And so with this as well, this is the type of thing that you could link in, let's say you're getting your muscle ups. you do it the same thing. You don't do a crazy amount of muscle ups, but you link it with something else. So maybe you could do the same. You could do goblet squats and let's say a salt bike, 21, 15, 9. And then your muscle ups are in there, but we're only doing 9, 6, 3. Something like that. So you're still able to get them in there, but you're not going to lose them they're not going to get really ugly. They're not going to lose that skill that you're trying to progress.
Yeah, you never want to practice movements that are, I guess, where your form's disappearing, because then you're just putting that movement pattern into repetition, and that's your default. You'll just go back to the default. So always just thinking about form first. Yeah, we want to go faster, but I always say good form before we start to increase the speed or load.
Absolutely.
Yeah.